there and welcome to my channel. I'm Val from Very Vegan Val, and since it's back to school season, I thought we would make those school lunches a little bit easier and make some deli slices together. These are so much cheaper than buying them from the store, so without further ado, let's go ahead and make my tomato and garlic deli slices. I love making my own seitan. I even buy my Vital Wheat gluten in bulk. This is not full, but it is my Vital Wheat gluten container. Vital Wheat gluten is the main ingredient in seitan. It's basically just flour, but all the starches have been removed, so it just leaves the protein. Those proteins come together and form textures that are similar to meats. Flavor is pretty good too, but we're of course going to boost ours by adding some extra umami ingredients. Here's everything you're going to need. 1 14.5-ounce can of diced tomatoes, drained. 7 ounces of firm tofu. This will help our deli slices have a bit of a softer texture. 1/4 cup of nutritional yeast, 3 tablespoons of light miso paste, 10 cloves of garlic. We really want to make sure that these have a garlicky flavor. 2 tablespoons of soy sauce, 2 tablespoons of garlic powder, a teaspoon of salt and a teaspoon of black pepper, 2 tablespoons of olive or neutral flavored oil, and of course, this is 2 1/4 cups of Vital Wheat gluten. To start off, we're going to take all of our ingredients except our Vital Wheat gluten and place them in our food processor. Now we'll just process them until smooth. Next, we're going to add in our Vital Wheat gluten. We're going to process until a dough forms. This is about the consistency you want. It should be a dough, but it should be relatively sticky. If your dough is not coming together, add a little bit more Vital Wheat gluten to firm it up. However, if your dough seems really dry, add a tablespoon or 2 of water to help with that consistency. I'm gonna let my food processor run now for about a minute, and this will help activate the gluten bonds. Check it out, you can see, look at the stretch of that gluten. That's what we're looking for. And just give it a few light kneads just to get it all brought together into one ball without big air pockets. Now it's time for me to bring out my first seitan specific gadget. This is a hand press. Now, of course, you do not need a hand press to make your own deli slices at all, but I like this because it gets the job done well and it is reusable. You can buy them online and you can see it's basically just a big metal cylinder with a lid. This lid comes off and then clips back on. And you put the seitan in here. So we have this piece, which is a metal plate with a screw on top. You put this in on top of your seitan, and then you put the lid on top. And the pressure of the lid will push down on the spring, which will push down on the plate, which will push down on your seitan. The reason that this is really helpful is that seitan swells as it cooks. So if you don't keep it under pressure as it cooks, it will become kind of spongy. Now we can do the same thing by taking our log of seitan and wrapping it first in parchment paper and then again in aluminum foil, and that will keep it nice and tightly wrapped while it cooks. I'm gonna pack mine into my hand press, but like I described before, you could also use just a layer of parchment paper and a layer of foil. Next, I'm gonna top with the plate and the screw, and then we'll use this top and push it down. Perfect. It's a little easier when your hand press is just slightly less full. Now that our seitan is shaped, we're gonna have to cook it. I like to steam my seitan. I find it makes the most reliable results. Now, a giant loaf like this is going to have to steam for a long time, about 1.5 hours. Because of that, I like to use my Instapot to steam. Since it's closed off, water can't evaporate, so I don't have to check and make sure it still has water. You can, of course, just steam on the stovetop, but you're going to have to keep on checking in to make sure that all the water hasn't evaporated. I love making my own deli slices for a lot of different reasons. The biggest reason is probably that it's just so much cheaper than buying them from the store. When you buy them from the store, you can get a package and there'll be like 10 slices in there. But for roughly the same price, you can make this recipe and you'll see how much more that's gonna make for you. Another reason I really love to make my own is it's very customizable. Sometimes I'll do black beans in it, or mushrooms, or make it smoky, or whatever it is. And the third reason maybe is a little silly, but it makes me feel so self-reliant and accomplished to just make them myself. Whew. So I think that there was a little bit too much seitan for this hand press, but here we go. I'm just gonna let it cool down fully before I place it in the fridge and let it cool down even more. Our seitan is cooled and ready to cut. Here comes our next seitan specific gadget that I own, and I'll admit this one is pretty silly. It is a recent purchase though, so check out my deli slicer. This is certainly not the world's best deli slicer. I bought it online for like 50 bucks, but I do really like that it gets nice thin slices of our seitan. Now, of course, just like all my other silly gadgets, you really don't need this. I would say with this one, you especially do not need this. A sharp knife or a mandolin will do absolutely fine, but I have my toy, so I'm going to use it. Look at that. Ooh. Thin. Love it. Beautiful. And just see how many deli slices you get from this recipe. I like to cut mine all ahead of time and then store them in the fridge. But if you prefer, you can also just keep it as that log shape and slice it off as you need it. So in case you're wondering, we made about 2 pounds of deli slices here. Another one of my favorite things about making my own deli slices is when I use store-bought ones, I use probably at most 2 pieces on a sandwich because there's not a lot of them and they're pretty expensive, and there's other people who want sandwiches, so I have to share, but not so with homemade ones. I use as many as I want and feel zero guilt about it. So let's make myself a little sandwich. Bread. I'm gonna add some mustard. I do not have a lot of mustard, hold on. Oh no, we still don't have a lot of mustard. Let's see, hopefully we have some in this one. This is worse. This is what it is like to have a boyfriend. No mustard. But back in the fridge. Basically no mustard. Again, back in the fridge. And a third, no mustard. Yet somehow, it is back in the fridge. All right, I think I can scrape some out of this one. Fine. Ooh, what am I gonna do with these? Put them back in the fridge? No, Chad. Hey, mayonnaise. Kale. Normally I would use lettuce, but I don't actually ever own lettuce, so normally I use kale. Chop it up finely because otherwise it can be a bit too fibrous to be pleasant in a sandwich. Tomato. These are some homemade pickles that I made from last year's batch of cucumbers that my mom grew. But guess what? It's just a jar of pickle juice that somebody put back in the fridge. Fortunately, I have more canned pickles, so we'll just open another jar. Mmm! These are lemon cucumbers, and I pickled this batch with fennel, and it's delicious. All right, and last but not least, our seitan. Look at that, seitan! Check out that beast of a sandwich. Sandwich time! Cheers. I love these deli slices. They're pretty soft because of the added tofu, which I think is really nice. They have a lot of garlic flavor and a lot of umami and a little bit of tomato. They're perfect to really bulk up your sandwich, and they add that bit of umami and heartiness that sometimes vegetable sandwiches are missing. Y'all, let me know what your favorite deli slices or deli slice alternatives are. Additionally, I am always looking for more sandwich ideas. I love interesting combinations. So if you have a good one, let me know your favorite sandwich down in the comments. And that is it for this video. If you had a good time making deli slices with us this week, you can give this video a thumbs up. And if you're so inclined, please subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye. You know who doesn't leave empty jars of condiments in your fridge? Wait.